Welcome to the Kayfabe Smark podcast with Eric Todd and Ryan Romula, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Hey. It is October 29th. You're listening to us live. This is coming out on the 30th, Devil's Night here in Detroit. This is episode 23 we're coming at you with. We're going to talk about some Hell in the Cell. We're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about all that fun stuff, NXT. Eric is sitting here with me. Eric, what is going on with you?
Oh, you know, same old. We're getting super close to Halloween here. Halloween coming up on Saturday.
So
just been keeping them horror movies flowing, man. I love this season.
COVID Halloween on a Saturday. Halloween
Hey.
finally gets a Saturday, and it's a COVID Halloween.
So with COVID going around and me loving movies and me loving to being isolated, this is the perfect Halloween season for me.
It's perfect. So it'll be an interesting one. Don't know how to do it. See if people get creative with it. Saw people making these PVC pipe candy dispensers, so you put it in so the kids don't have to get all close to you at your house. And I thought it'd just be kind of more fun, but anyways, that's that. Make sure you guys head on over to all the social media stuff. Kayfabe Smark on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you head on over to audibletrial.com/KayfabeSmark. Get a free audiobook, free 30-day trial, all that good stuff. And then also make sure you get over to anchor.fm if you got any anchor.fm/the Kayfabe Smark. My apologies. If you got any questions and things like that, you can leave a voicemail, send an email through that. Make sure you join us on YouTube. We are doing these live now, so we are live on YouTube at the moment. That is Kayfabe Smark on YouTube. We get those numbers up. We can get one of them vanity URLs. So get on over there, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff right there, and we can have some fun talking wrestling on the internet. But we had a pretty big week of wrestling there, Eric. We had Hell in the Cell on Sunday. Wednesday we had AEW as normal. We had mentioned that it was the go-home show, but it was the pre-go-home show.
Yeah, we were a little confused on that one.
The road to the go-home show, and then
We're so used to pay-per-views running against each other, same week and whatnot. So that's my excuse anyway. I
Yeah.
assumed if NXT was doing a pay-per-view-esque show that AEW would follow with theirs, but I digress.
I digress. So we just had a regular a road to their pay-per-view show, and then NXT put on their version for a Halloween special, if you will. I don't know. It wasn't a pay-per-view because it was on live TV, network TV, but it wasn't your traditional show. So I guess we'll call it their Halloween
Homage,
special.
if you will.
Their Halloween Havoc brought back the WCW classic pay-per-view Halloween Havoc and gave it a good old kick in the ass of a reboot, which I thought was one that WWE should have ate up when they bought WCW. But they didn't, but it finally came back 20-something years later.
Yeah, I think it was 20 years on the dot since the last one, and spoiler alert, there was no monster truck sumo wrestling match, but
There was
darn,
not.
you can't always get what you want.
You can't always get what you want, but they did have the mummy humping somebody, so we can get into that later, though. The Yeti. The Yeti.
Yeti. I spelled it phonetically in my notes.
The Yeti. All right, so I think what we should just dive into first is the first one of the week, the big one of the week, and we can dive into Hell in the Cell.
Yes, WWE Hell in a Cell last Sunday, and this was a crazy year for Hell in the Cell. They did 3 matches in the Cell this year. Usually they reserve that for their main event, but they just decided to shove it all down our throat this year.
Right, because last year they had 2, because they've been letting the ladies have one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they had 2, and then this year they squeezed a 3rd one in. I'm pretty sure the whole pay-per-view is just going to be a Hell in the Cell, like a TLC
well.
pay-per-view. Let me pull up the wiki here real quick, and I can have the match in front of me here. But we can start off first while we're doing. I can get that going. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso.
Yes, our rematch from Night of Champions, except pretty much the same match, except this time it's in a cell.
It's exactly.
And it's I Quit.
That's exactly what I thought too. I was like,
Which
this was like a whole thing.
Yeah. So it was like a night of rematches because later on in the night we get Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Pretty much the same thing. The match from Night of Champions, like where it's hardcore, but this time it's in a cell. And it's like, all right. So we're into reduce, reuse, recycle. It's all good. Save the environment, WWE, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let me see here. I start out my notes with this Roman Reigns match. They gave it the big fight feel with the big intros where they're in the ring, you know. To me, that big fight feel comes in when there's guys already in the ring and then they do the introductions. And that's kind of what they kick that off with us with that. I thought the pre-match, all that ring talk, the mics were mic'd up so loud in the ring that we could just hear them talking, and it was just weird to me. Like they were traditionally used to seeing them have to use a microphone when they talk in the ring.
Right. Yeah, that was a little odd.
I didn't care for that. I thought it was a little cheesy.
There was also more audio issues once the match got started. Just the amount of piped in boos for Roman Reigns. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. They laid it on thick.
They can't tell if they want them. They either are, they're all in with one way or another with Roman Reigns. Like they're never just, it's never just, hey, let the character become something. It is, he's a bad guy, and he's going to be the biggest heel bad guy. He's going to be so mean and angry, and we're going to lay it on thick, or they're going to try and shove it down that he's a superhero and that he's, you know, got the pearly white smile and stands with his hands. It's just, they can't figure out, they just can't let it evolve and become whatever it should be.
But they go way too deep with it. Like, we all know we're in an arena full of TV screens and there is no real audio coming through. But man, they've got the boos like we're in the Pontiac Silverdome in 1988, and you've got 93,000 people all yelling boo. Like, boo. It just comes off as so fake and so set up. They got to find a more natural way to do it, man.
I think they can just bring the volume down and you wouldn't notice as much, but you know, that's just my first guess, is just don't force it on you.
Have a couple jerks like us in the audio just mixed in low that are cheering our asses off for the bad guy.
You should, well, I guess you don't know what people would say. It's hard enough. We don't know what people are going to do. I'm like, you should be able to pipe some of the audio from these people watching it, but bad enough we've had Pokemon, a guy sleeping, and Chris Benoit watching the matches.
Right.
So, what did you think of the match? What did you like? What did you hate? What were some of the first things that you didn't like?
Well, starting off, first on a negative note, man, this match was moving slower than shit on sandpaper, man. That shit was just creeping, and I was just, we've already seen this match a few weeks ago, and the rematch is just moving at a snail's pace. We're in the opening match of this pay-per-view, and I'm fighting off sleep. I'm cracking rock stars and, you know, shooting up adrenaline shots and just trying to stay awake for this thing, man.
Yeah, it was, I thought when it was slow, and when they were moving, but there was more slow and more talk. It had a very soap opera feel thing to me going on. It was driving me nuts a little bit. One of my first notes I have here is I just state before it even really gets kicked off, I hope this is not a glorified squash match. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a glorified squash match, but there we'll continue on.
Yeah. Jay Uso definitely doing his job as the babyface, selling his ass off. But once Roman Reigns gets a hold of that leather strap, I don't think Jay had to try very hard to sell. Roman was beating him like a dog.
Yeah, they went hard on each other with that strap. I thought even on the opposite way, they were like, well, let's lay it in thick and get this over here. Let me see, where we at? Oh, I like the Jay says, you ain't never quit shit, but you're going to quit today. And the guy on the dump button was about 10 seconds too late, as then they dumped out just to like the regular audio, which was pretty funny to me. Just let it go.
Yeah,
it's a guy saying shit.
Dump button. But we're on pay-per-view. Let a shit sneak through every now and again.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Are they that worried about the kids? that they're just like, oh my God, they said shit.
Trick love the kids.
Trick love the kids.
But just another. I guess I'm being picky here, but I don't think this is actually, yeah, this was pretty stupid. Jay choked. Jay had that strap, Jay Uso, and he wrapped it around Roman's neck, and he choked him to the point of unconsciousness. And the referee is checking on Roman Reigns, and he's ultra concerned that like Roman's dying or whatever. But you think he unwrapped that strap from around his neck? Nah. We're just gonna go ahead and leave the noose tightened to full capacity while we check on him to
Just
see
leave
if
it.
there's still blood flowing to his brain. Fucking idiots.
Some of the stuff I thought was, yeah, there was a couple of those things that happened here. Let me see. Let me scroll down with my notes.
And it's at this point that I just made a prediction that this match is going to go until they're forced to stop it. And I can't believe it took me this long to come to that realization that was going to be the ending of this match.
Right. That was where we come back to what I stated earlier here that said, I hope it's not a glorified squash match. Wasn't a squash match, but it was definitely glorified as they...
Yeah.
I saw how it was unraveling, and it was just devastating move after devastating move after devastating move to each other. I hated the spot. So there was a couple of them. They did them back and forth. He's hitting Jay with those spears. Roman, pronouns pal, is hitting Jay with those spears, and then the referee's going to him saying, "Do you quit?" Who's ever quit from a big move?
Right. Never. Not in the history of I Quit matches.
Like, because instantly after you're hit, the pain's over. Now you just got to figure out how to get better. You're just now you're in heal mode. You're healing. You're on your way back up. So, and then they did it with Jay too when he was hitting Roman with those splashes, those big flying splashes, and the ref's going, "Do you quit, Roman?" No, I quit. A guy jumped on me.
Yeah, we're just putting on theatrics here. Reminding people that this is an I Quit match, I guess, because there wasn't really a ton of submissions going on.
Well,
so
that was what I put in my notes. I said, hit those big moves and then grab him in an arm bar.
Right, absolutely.
Just grab his finger and bend it. Like, do something that somebody would want to say, "I quit." But they didn't do that.
Just in case we didn't know this was pretty much a replay of the Night of Champions match, who decides to show his face and join in with the match? But Jimmy Uso.
Jimmy Uso. And, yeah, let me see here. Oh, yeah. I like how Jimmy was getting involved, and then, like, they made it seem like he was going to turn, and then Roman was crying.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
What are we showing of Roman? Are we showing like are they really taking it this far that he's having a mental breakdown and he's like splitting personalities or something, because he's just a ruthless animal when he's going hard on his cousins here, but then he's just crying like a child with a dead puppy.
Yeah.
At the very next moment.
And then, yeah. Then I get like, okay, so that's the only way you're going to get Jay to quit is by choking out Jimmy.
Right.
And
that's exactly what we get.
You know, kind of jumping around here and just going through the story of this. There were some good parts, there were some bad parts. Overall, the one thing that I thought was crazy about this match is how much time they gave it.
My God.
They gave it dancing on. Let me see if I got it in the Hell in the Cell thing here. They usually put it in the thing here. Roman Reigns, they're out of their mind. Well, I guess they're going from bell to bell. 29 minutes.
Oh, it seemed longer than that.
It's way longer than that. When you put the promos in, by the time, if you go back and start it on the WWE Network, by the time the Elias-Jeff Hardy match, which we'll talk about next, comes on, it's almost an hour. From previews and then replays and all that stuff. I was like, they've done killed a third of their show on this nonsense. But we can get back to talking a little bit more about it here. I just thought it went too long. Back to that. It was way too many devastating moves, too many spears, too many flying splashes. It was, Eric, I was thinking of you when I was watching it because I'm going, how many finishing moves does it take All of a sudden, one spear will kill a guy on Raw. They put Roman Reigns in the ring. He spears a guy, pins him. Life is over. Ding, ding, ding. We move on. But he's hit Jimmy with like about 92 of them.
Yeah, the only way I'll defend it is in the kayfabe world, one spear or one mega splash is enough to put you down for 3 seconds. But in this ring, this match, with these high stakes,
to give up,
one spear isn't going to be enough to make you say, I quit.
I quit. What about now? I think, speaking of kayfabe, I believe I heard this. I believe Jimmy blew up the spot on what their real names are.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And,
making sure that
I don't know if that was on purpose to kind of open the doors a little bit and make you feel a little more sympathy.
Yeah, because I heard he said something. Jimmy yells, "This is Josh."
Yeah.
And then he said something about, and his name's John.
Oh, okay.
There was a
John.
I
didn't catch his name. I just heard him say, "This is Josh. This is Josh," a couple times. And it's like, I didn't really cut him down too far on that one because it's not too far of a stretch to call a kid named Josh to call him Jay.
No, I mean, I could care less. I didn't assume those were their real names anyways. If I really wanted to know them, I could go look them up on the inner tubes. But I just thought you just don't usually hear that stuff. So unless they're going to twist it into a storyline, and that's my family. And
but it wasn't a stretch where, shit, I can't. What's Roman's real name?
Fuck, I forget.
It's not like so you have
it's not kayfabe anymore.
A kayfabe actual name like Randy or something, and be like, "This is Steve. What are you doing?" It's like, what? It's like Josh J. Whatever. Let it slide.
Josh
Get a little
J.
more sympathy out of the spot.
And then the other thing too that I hated was the when Roman was choking out Jimmy. There's 10 guys that had come out to the ring, 10 officials to help break up the match, right? Because it just needed to end earlier.
Right.
They didn't get in the ring. Like, is everybody that scared of Roman to get into the ring to stop him from choking the guy to death? They just jump around the outside of the ring. I thought that was hilarious, like just jumping around, waving their hands. Like, why they get involved, they don't get involved. There was just the consistency was off in the match and where people were interfering with.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't approach Roman Reigns.
But I'm saying, they got in earlier though when he was choking out Jay.
Ah, yeah.
See, that's the part I'm getting at. Like, so he gets in. They were like, "You got to get off him, get off him." They're trying to separate him, but then when choking out Jimmy, they just waved their hands and on the outside until Jay sat up and said, "I quit." But that's just me being picky. Overall, it wasn't bad. I only picked out some of the bad stuff to talk about because that's what irritated me. I didn't mind it. I thought it went too long, though. Back to that.
I just thought spending an hour on this thing, if you're counting vignettes and everything, was ridiculous. To my main gripe that it was a 95% replay of our last pay-per-view match between these two.
Correct.
It's just like, all right, whatever.
All right, whatever. Whatever, dog. All right, well, we'll move on. You got anything else about this match?
Nope, I'm good with this match. We're moving on to Jeff Hardy versus Elias.
My first note says I didn't know Elias was still employed. I didn't miss him.
Neither did I.
I didn't miss him. I didn't notice. I didn't really care. I know I don't watch too much of the Raw stuff, but I keep up on it. I just don't talk about it on here because it's annoying. I thought the digs and the song kicking before the match even gets started was whack. Like, he's got to make the whole song like a Weird Al song parody about him, Jeff Hardy, drinking. We get it. He drinks.
Right.
He had a problem.
It's been beaten to death, man. It's just been driven into the ground, the Jeff Hardy alcoholism thing. But this is where I took my chance to compare it to AEW, where Elias, a mid-carder on WWE, I think his ad-lib songs are better than the shit like Chris Jericho and MJF are writing. It's just, I don't know. I think Elias overall
I know it's
is a funny guy. And then I don't know. I just musical number versus musical number. I would take Elias over Chris Jericho.
oh well. Are we talking the dance thing from last week? Or are we talking if we're talking that, like God, I could take a lot of stuff.
Maybe the dancing took it down a few notches.
I thought I was very confused about this match because it was so long in the making. This match originated back from what, in March, just before WrestleMania?
Yeah, about makes sense.
Something like that, where they did the whole drunk driving spot thing with
Yeah, because I remember it wasn't hot outside yet. So it had to be March, April, something like that.
We're already started in the pandemic, so it's been several months when he got hit. Elias got hit and then taken away that he was injured. And then they bring it back after, say 5 months or whatever it's been. It's like, it's just lazy. Lazy creative, but I didn't like that part. I thought that I just didn't think the match needed to be. They could have had him fight, but don't make it like it's a grudge match. It's like. That was
right.
That was in the winter. We're almost out of the year now.
We're almost back into another winter.
Yeah.
But I thought just as a match, as a wrestling match, these two put on a good show.
Yeah.
Elias is a beast, man. He's one of those guys that you look at and you're like, oh, he's not that big.
No.
But you put him in there with Jeff Hardy and you're like, oh, that motherfucker's pretty big.
Big, tall, big, muscular. He's big. He's a big, strong guy. His gimmick, I like it and I hate it all in the same sentence. I thought the match was, again, a wrestling match. I didn't understand the ending, like why it went to that.
That's what I got. Not sure what the ending is about. The match ends by DQ when Jeff Hardy hits Elias with his own guitar and ring, 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 ring the bell. Elias wins by DQ. Don't know what anybody gained or lost from that.
Exactly.
Besides our precious time.
Besides our precious time, exactly. I just put the match was about mediocre. It was okay, and then why would Jeff go out of his way to hit him with a guitar? Elias was the one that was supposed to be seeking revenge. So that was what I thought should have been the other way. If it ended that way, he was just so enraged, but that he's going to hit him for hitting him with a car. He's going to beat him with a guitar, but what do I know?
Yeah. So this match overall, if we were trying to stay consistent with stories and whatnot, I have no idea what the fuck was going on. But the performance in the ring was performance in the ring, if you're just watching for a wrestling match, yeah, it's a pretty good match.
I like the way that you stated it. Yeah, that's for the reason they were in the ring. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but we were just watching a wrestling match. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We watched a wrestling match. It was entertaining. Why I watched it? Fuck, I don't know. Oh, that part made me laugh, Eric. You got me a good old chuckle out of that. Where do we go?
Going from here, we get our People's Court vignette between The Miz and Otis. To be honest, I dozed off for a few minutes here, so
now take that. Nothing personal to the wrestling here, people. Anybody tuning in and listening with us. Eric it wasn't because it was boring. It could have been the most exciting match of the world. If he's tired, he's tired. I've seen him crash.
You've seen me crash at a concert.
I was just going to say, I've seen you crash at times that nobody should be asleep. Yeah, let me go to sleep. I thought the People's Court thing was funny. It made me laugh. It was goofy. It was fine. But maybe it's because I'm comparing it like the bar has been taking so low.
Oh, yeah. I've got super goofy, cheesy, and I thought Tony Khan was going to show up because this just seemed like another thing that would be on AEW. I think the bar on realism and things that could actually happen in the actual world, that bar has been severely lowered, and we are back to cartoon cheesiness, fantasy bullshit that will never happen. So, yeah, if you're looking at it through that lens where you're just looking to laugh and be entertained, I could see a giggle or two coming from this thing, but I took it from a cynical perspective, and I'm like, why would these guys be in court representing themselves over I don't know.
I just don't understand. I didn't understand this whole Money in the Bank thing that they've been doing with Otis. So they gave him the Money in the Bank off of like a fluke, like right, Miz had it
Right.
or whatever, and this and that. He dropped it. He never had possession of it, and then Otis grabs it. He's been dancing around with it now since March,
Yeah.
and then finally he defends it against Miz. I mean, it leads us into this match, right?
Which I can't remember any other time where someone's had to defend their Money in the Bank briefcase, and the whole basis of this one's just stupid. Nothing says in the rules you have to be the one climbing the ladder. It's just you have to be the one who gets possessed with it.
Yeah, I didn't get what they were doing. I thought overall in the idea of this match when they first started the Money in the Bank, I thought would be something. I thought we would see the Money in the Bank briefcase get defended like a mid-card title, if you will, some type of, on the way up. Hey, you've got it. Let's put your Money in the Bank on the line. Let's put your contract on the line. And it would kind of change hands maybe multiple times before it gets cashed in. But I thought it would be entertaining when they also did it as well. And it wasn't entertaining by this way. I thought it was bad.
No.
What did you think of this match? I guess it just leads us right into this match, right?
Well, the match already started with one strike against it in my book, just because the Miz has been around for so long, and whether he's heel or babyface, he's just always been the same guy. Now he's super talented. I'll give him that, but I can't get into the Miz anymore just because it's just same old shit. And then I've just never liked Otis. Call me a old school Vince McMahon kind of guy, but a fat schlub with a half shirt and his belly hanging out and stringy hair. I don't see any sort of championship potential in him. So why would I give a fuck about him? You know what I'm saying? He's just going to be a bottom feeder, mid-carder if I was booking the promotion.
I have something along the same line that says, I'll never understand Vince. Otis gets a half shirt that's a size too small, but Keith Lee has to wear a full vest and culotte shorts because he doesn't like his physical appearance. Like, that's just so they let him dance around because he's goofy with it. Isn't Keith Lee supposed to be a badass because Otis does his, oh yeah, his like Kool-Aid Man thing and thrusts his hips and does his belly rub and the worm? That it's acceptable to be kind of, that, I mean, he is entertaining in that sense. He's willing to get out there and dance around and be in your face and be Otis, but I don't know. I don't see a championship material on him either. Maybe a tag team championship at the rate that's moving.
Yeah, we see how well the WWE treats tag teams, but I think to kind of branch off from what you were saying, this is Vince shitting on Otis, making fun of him. Sure, go out there in a half shirt, pal. Let your belly hang out. You're not going to be shit anyway, so you might just be a goof that we all laugh at behind the scenes. Whereas with Keith Lee, besides his tennis skirt that he wears, he's supposed to be champion material, and Vince sees everything champion about him except his flabby body and boy boobs. So Vince wants to cover up every inch of skin on him he can.
But on the opposite side of that, Otis is, I guess, from what I feel, he's semi over with the crowd. And the pop of the people's kind of champion. He's not going to be your next Bret Hart by any means. I'm not stating that. I'm just stating people love him. If the people love him and he puts out a shirt and he keeps making people laugh, what the hell? He can make a whole career out of that.
Well, fuck. Then I guess we better book Orange Cassidy to be the next AEW champion.
I didn't say he's going to be the champion. I just said he can make a living off of selling shirts. So in Vince's maybe dig at him, it's just going to work in his favor, right?
So if Orange Cassidy is the next Shawn Michaels, what is Otis? Is Otis the next big show, Brian?
Yes. Short show.
But yeah, Otis is skilled. Motherfucker can wrestle and he's entertaining, but his, I don't know, the comedy gimmick,
He's a sideshow act.
yeah, it just overshadows his skill. The fact that he's a sideshow that serious people laugh at, it just overshadows his skill. So basically, we haven't even started talking about this match yet, except
I think this
I
is
don't care about Miz because he's just been the same guy for 20 years, and I don't care about Otis because he's just a goof.
I thought it was a dumb way to move the Money in the Bank contract. It was a weird match. If there would have been a struggle for the thing, for the contract, and it would have been like, or two referees,
Right, a dispute or something.
Remember, like, who was it that went over the Royal Rumble thing?
At the original match. But yeah, I know what you're talking about, where 2 feet touched at the same time,
right?
And there's an issue with it.
So then they had to fight and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. If there was this guy, and it was this ref says this ref says that, back and forth, then they could have done, the match would have been a build-up, but to me it just was sat around and waited for this thing to happen, and then there's hey, you know what? Let's bring back another 5-month-old thing for Money in the Bank, or for Hell in a Cell.
It seems like lazy booking for me. Like they're maybe they got some shit in the can, some ideas written down for when audiences can come back or crowds. And they're just throwing garbage at this point because they're not going to gain any viewers. They're not going to lose any viewers. Maybe they want to save the stuff for a big comeback once everything opens up.
Maybe.
That's what I'm hoping anyway, because this shit is just lazy.
But I guess we'll take away the biggest part of this match was the ending. So,
well, before we hop into the ending, I just want to take a second. And even though he's a wrestler, John Morrison had this heel manager thing on lock.
Oh, for sure.
And I think Tully Blanchard, is as much as a legend he is, could take some pointers from John Morrison on how to be a heel manager, because Tully just stands around the ring and grabs a shoelace every now and again. Morrison was fucking getting involved, and I loved it, man. The energy was all there and everything, and they were making a normal fan angry at the Miz. Like, come on, man, you keep getting help from your manager, but you're getting the right kind of heat on that one.
I thought Morrison looked goofy with his beard shaved off, but other than that, I thought he did great in the match. And maybe he's got a career outside of his wrestling career, wherever that's at these days.
No doubt. But fast forwarding to the end of this match, Tucker, the other heavy machinery guy, stabs Otis in the back by whacking him in the dome with that briefcase. And that shit looked like a potato, man. he went hard on that.
Mollywopped him with the potato, turns on his buddy, and potentially setting up a feud between those two for whatever that's worth and whatever that means. Now Miz has the Money in the Bank contract, and not sure who you'd go after there, which brand. And so, we got some things that turned around, something that they can build from. Not sure where they're going and why they're going there. I put it was a dumb to split up a tag team that's pretty over in a weak division as it is. So you actually have a tag team that is getting over and working. And then I said old Tucker's going to get the old Marty Jannetty treatment because Otis is over like Rover.
Yeah, and that's exactly where he's going. He's going to Jannetty land. He's going to go down to a bowling alley and murder a child molester.
Throw him in the Chattahoochee.
But so yeah, anyway, Miz sold that surprise ending like crazy. He's just eyes wide open, look like dinner plates. And so yeah, it was
when Morrison got ejected, to me that was like, okay, something's happening. Some type of red flag went off in my head. I didn't know what. I was not saying that because he got ejected. It just made me think that there was another, like, it was just a lead up to something happening. It's a red flag made me think, what are they doing? They're ejecting a manager, but they're leaving another manager, or, whatever you want to call it, out there with him. So the other guy from the tag team got to stay, the other tag team. So I didn't know which way it would go. if they were going to screw over the Miz and continue this feud or what. But
Right.
just made me
but
think.
You knew there was
Just made me
another
think.
trick coming
Ding,
up.
ding, ding, ding. Another trick. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm not saying that I saw it and went, oh, I saw that coming. I didn't. I just saw something.
So, as we've alluded to, the Miz ends up winning after Tuck screws over Otis. After the match, immediately after the match, we get an interview with the Miz, and the Miz is himself, blah, blah, blah.
Miz and the Mizes.
And this part was, again, lazy booking, lazy writing. Tuck comes out to explain why he backstabbed Otis, and it's just the biggest cliche in tag team wrestling when you want to split up a team. I'm in his shadow. He's outshining me. And it's like, come on, man. You and I both being fans for over 30 years, we've had to have heard this excuse or this reasoning or whatever over 100 times.
Oh, way too much.
Minimum. And it's like, can't you come up with something a little more original? But
let's just take this back into like to real life. I always like to bring it back to real life and how people would react. Eric, let's call us a tag team here in the podcasting world. We're here on YouTube. We're here podcasting. A little too sweetest. Now, let's just say, for some reason, I do a separate podcast on my own, and it blows up. I'm as big as Pat McAfee, right? On the internet world. But I still do this show with you. Every Thursday, we put out the Kayfabe Smark podcast. But my podcast, I get 1 million viewers every time. This one will get hundreds of thousands because I'm still on it. Now, are you gonna ride my coattails, Eric Todd? Or are you gonna smack me in the face with a briefcase because I'm outshining you in the podcast in the world? You would ride the coattails of the guy that's getting you over and taking you with him.
To break kayfabe, I've actually thought of this exact same scenario. I'm like, what would I do? But I've always been a big fish in a small pond kind of guy. So, yeah, if for some reason if you pulled a Conrad and you had multiple podcasts and your podcast without me
blew the fuck up. Hey, man, as long as you're still coming in my little pond and bringing more minnows in, hey, man, let's roll with it. I don't know. I always wondered that about tag teams. Like,
I wouldn't go smacking you in the face and saying, fuck you, I'm going to throw everything away.
Well, that's good. Maybe we won't have the days that we stop doing this on Skype, I won't have to hide my briefcases in the house. And I can
I know you got a few of them.
I don't know. It's just to be that mad about a team. They're supposed to be a tag team, so who cares if he's outshining them in the singles world? They're a tag team. I don't.
Right. So, again, that just re-solidifies how cliche that excuse is to split the team up.
Splitting up the team.
It just doesn't make sense.
Splitting up the team. Yep. So that was a squash match to me in this row. They had that big match. Big hour long. I'm calling it an hour. And then they bring you in with the Elias and Jeff Hardy, and then they give you this. 2 kind of squash matches that led you up to the next Hell in the Cell match, Sasha and Bayley.
Yes, I've got here Sasha Banks versus Bayley in a middle school arts and crafts in a cell match for the women's SmackDown title.
Now, where does the middle school arts and crafts in a cell match come from?
Because it's one thing, we're in a cage. Use the cage, use the stairs, use the ring post. But they used every item in that arena that they could find. I'm going to
Jimmy and
back to my next page of notes. But
Jay and Roman used a hog strap like they were chasing cattle around the arena before the match started.
Well, all right. So you compare the weapons that Jay and Roman used, but I've got. It's one thing to use the cell in the ring. Yeah, I just said that. But chairs, kendo sticks, tables, duct tape, ladders, fire extinguishers, spray paint.
The spray paint
duct tape and kendo sticks together. It's a hat on a hat.
It's a hat on a hat emporium. All right. So
this is already a gimmick match, and we're putting a hat on a hat and making it as gimmicky as possible. and just throwing as many gimmicks into it as we can.
So Bailey's been toting around this chair for a while, right? And like she's carrying this chair around. It's been her little gimmick. And then the way that when the Hell's in the Cell's coming down over the ring, and then Sasha, my God, too many. I don't have.
Wait, was it Sasha or the Boss?
Sasha or the Boss?
Inside joke alert.
Sasha hits it, and it goes out of the ring just in time for the Hell in the Cell to come down. And I was like, I just put in my notes, that chair will come into play sometime later because it was made to be so noticed that she had it in the ring, and then it just went out as the ring closed around her. So.
Yeah, it got Indiana Jones'd, and then later on the match, it's conveniently propped up, right?
Right where she needs it.
Right, exactly where she needs it.
Bailey, so this was clearly the Bailey is a heel, get used to it match. And Becky.
I miss Becky.
Yeah, maybe it was a Freudian slip. Sasha, the Boss, is clearly the face. Now, they even ran this home to you visually as Bailey wore all black and Sasha wore all white for the heels
Right.
and the faces. They were just really trying to separate these two they had been together so long. I thought it was just a nice little touch. It was probably something most people don't notice, but a geekazoid like myself was like, I noticed that shit.
Yep, light versus dark, good versus evil. But yeah, I'll take super clear, defined baby faces and heels over the mishmash that's, going over with the competition where you're like, what? Is he a heel? Why are there two heels in the match? Oh, wait, he's not a heel. I'll take this clearly defined shit every single time.
Right. I thought these two girls put on a match. Granted,
Yeah.
They put a hat on a hat. They had a gimmick. They had a gimmick inside a gimmick match. We can put that to the side, and we can accept that for what it is. These two beat the hell out of each other.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Those things Sasha does, I have it spelled two different ways. Is it Meteora?
Meteora.
All right. That when she set up that table like a ramp and ran up that bitch and did the Meteora against the side of the cell, I think that was either the first or the second Meteora.
I think it was the first one because I have it
the first
here
one.
too.
And that was a hell of a first Meteora to hit us with, man. That woke me up.
That woke me up.
But that woke me up even more awake than I was. It got me into the match, And then we got about 35 more Meteoras, but thankfully they were all in different scenarios.
Yeah, I'm not even watching this as a quote woman's match at the moment. I'm watching this with the respect of any match. Like I'm looking at it like I never even looked at these two to become like, here we go, the women's match, blah blah blah. As I kind of give when AEW puts on a women's match sometimes, and even a little bit in NXT. Sorry, ladies, it's just not getting over on me right now. But these two came out. I was like, this will be a show. I was ready for it. I thought they did pretty good. I like that. That Bailey's running sunset flips when she slammed Sasha into the chair when the chair was wedged into the corner of the ring there. She just running like sunset flip. Whop, like
I've got that in my notes too. That was a pretty devastating move.
Love that. What did you think about the ring talk? Again, it's super forced ring talk. It's extra loud, extra mic'd ring talk. I just thought it was, again, overly done, super cheese, and didn't care for it. Thought it was just, could have left it off that.
Precisely. It just makes it more scripted. Even more, we all know it's scripted, but we all like to lose ourselves in the match. And these women aren't Emmy-nominated actresses here. They're athletes who are putting on a fake fight. You can't automatically throw acting in there, too. We learned that from the Bray Wyatt Swamp match, that just because you're faking fights on TV doesn't mean you're an actor or an actress.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought if they could do this and make it just, if they would have said, go out there and talk, like just Vince says, all right, we need the ring talk up. The show's quiet. We're piping in some sound, but we need you guys to really talk shit and just get on each other. What do you want us to say, Vince? What would you say in a fight? Get up, let's go. Like, then it feels natural. But when it's like there's these long sentences and they're getting their lines in, is what it felt like. It was like, all right. I thought Bailey's. I couldn't tell if it was a spot, this spot here. Couldn't tell if she messed up, if it was a work, if it was, if they were shooting on it. But it just was. She's trying to get that duct tape undone, and she looks at the ref and says, "I'm so sweaty. Can you do this for me?" And then the ref just goes, "No, I can't do that for you." It's like, was that supposed to be heard or not? I don't know.
I would like to believe that was a mess up. That was her slipping out of character for a second. She couldn't get that duct tape undone, and she panicked. That's the way I'm taking it.
The commentators covered up nicely for her, stating Bailey's just so relaxed in there. She's asking the referee to help her with this duct tape, and that actually was. I actually like the way that it was covered up, because then it makes you go, well, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. And I like a maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. Because that other ring talk was going, well, that was a line that was supposed to be said.
They clearly are reading this off of a piece of paper, basically.
Yeah, so I liked that, and the ref played it well. No, I'm not going to help you with that. Just yells back at her. So finally she gets. I think there was a little panic, but she kept a calm head.
That I'm not sure if this happened before or after the duct tape. I think it was before, but Sasha hit Bailey with another Meteora. This one was off the apron, and she landed directly on her tailbone, and that looked painful.
Yes.
She even rubbed her butt after that one.
She even rubbed her butt.
That looked rough, man. There's a little padding down there, and then Sasha's got a little padding herself, but that tailbone piece took a beating on that.
Yes. Overall, I love this match. Thought it was good. I thought it was fun. It was entertained. I sat back and watched it, and I don't have many notes on it because, as we stated before, that'll happen to me, and you've stated it very similarly, when you just get drawn into it. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. Not too many complaints on this one. My only complaint would really be the overly scripted ring talk, and
the gimmicks.
They just went way overboard with the gimmicks, the weapons.
Gimmicks on gimmicks on gimmicks.
They could have brought it back a little bit on the kendo sticks and the building popsicle castles with the stairs and the fences and kendo sticks and duct tape. They could have brought that back a little bit and focused on a little more wrestling, and I would have been happier with this match. But it wasn't bad. I didn't all of a sudden get a hankering to go take a pee or cook dinner or take the dog outside or something.
Tap the 15-second button.
Right. Sasha Banks does end up winning with the bank statement, with Bailey's head wedged in that chair, and she ends Bailey's 380-day title reign.
Yeah, she had that belt for a minute and a half.
A hot minute. She had that boy pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, before COVID was even cool. Wait, is it cool? I put, this match was great. I loved it. The Bailey reign is over, and then we get this amazing match of Lashley versus Slapjack.
Real quick before we hop into the Slapjacks, where do you think Bailey goes from here? Does she still have heat as a heel? You think she's going to keep going after Sasha, or does she go in another direction?
I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you do with her now? Where do you send Bailey? Because how many times are you going to do the old Bailey-Sasha
We've
gimmick?
seen Bailey and Sasha. This tension has been going on forever. There's been shit, just to use the same phrase, pre-COVID.
Maybe
at our wrestling parties. Oh yeah, we're real cool. We go to wrestling parties with our friends, but we've been talking about, come on, just get this shit over with. Have them split up and fight.
Yeah, I think maybe Charlotte's on her way back. Maybe.
Yeah.
Start working an angle there. But they can put that with. But then I see her going to fight Sasha. Maybe Bailey jumps brands.
I'd like to see her tangle with Rhea Ripley a little bit in NXT.
She could go down to NXT and get I wouldn't say she's going down to get the reboot like Finn essentially went for, but I'd say maybe she goes there and helps kickstart and build up that division down there.
Either that or they pull Rhea up.
That could be as well. Could pull Rhea up. Yeah, are we going to talk about this next thing here?
Yeah, I've got Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack.
Ashley.
Bobby Lashley, I'm sorry. Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack. And I Googled this, Shane Thorne for the U.S. title.
Shane Thorne, that's Slapjack?
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess he was in NXT for a minute. I don't know.
I put yawn. This guy is wearing a coffee filter snowflake mask, and this is whack.
They were working to keep the mask on him. This was like, oh, God. Just, if you got to hold the mask on and you need help from your opponent, just get a better mask, wear a lucha mask. I don't know.
Just take it off. Nobody knows who you are.
My only note on this match is that Bobby Lashley wins with the Hurt Lock.
Yeah. My literally only note is I put, we get this match after the Sasha and Bailey, and this guy's wearing a coffee filter snowflake for a mask. That was my 2 notes.
This was the P-break match.
Oh, that was a squash and a half. That was
They switched it out on us.
Oof, that was bad. Nothing against Bobby. They did Bobby dirty on that one because he's been doing okay in my book. And then they did Bobby dirty with that. They put him against that fucking goofball. All right, so then we bring us down to the main event, right?
Yeah, we've got Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for that WWE title.
All right, well, they kick it off with a Drew McIntyre comes out first.
Yeah, and that's never a good sign.
It's never a good sign. That's an old school rule that he'd come out first. Champion's not going to do so hot, not looking so good for the champ, but they also had it worked in where it was a surprise attack gimmick with Randy Orton attacking him in some sweats, some black sweats, comes running up like a stagehand, and that's how the match kicks off essentially.
So yeah, you and I, we met in our early 20s, but in our teenage years, we came from different friend groups of wrestling buddies. But that one common, amongst other ones, but this one common thing that if the champion comes out first, he's dropping the belt. Yeah. That my friend group has been saying that. Your friend group's been saying that. I think a lot of friend groups have been saying that.
It's an old school. If the champ's not getting top billing, consider it a wrap, Jack. I forget the guy's name. I put the new Michael Cole says that the RK out of nowhere, or the RKO early. Of course it is. And then I put, well, why wouldn't he want to do it early? Like, so the match starts. They do their shit outside the ring, right? Whatever. They beat each other up. They go on. They finally get in the ring. The bell rings, and then Randy goes right for an RKO. And the commentator's note is, oh, Randy Orton going for an RKO real early in the match. Well, yeah. You get paid by the hour.
Yeah. You just want to win.
It's won a lot of matches. Let's try to do it fast. Like, why? This is the way that it was stated. Like, oh, he should save that for an hour and a half later.
Yeah, he can't do that now. We've still got 45 minutes left on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, he might as well just say the timeline. Oh, he wasn't supposed to do that not now. I don't know. I thought that was dumb.
Wait, has Gorilla... Did Gorilla position, tell him to take it home already? What's going on, guys?
He just completely loses kayfabe, just everything. He starts going, what are they talking about? Why is he doing that? I didn't take many notes on this match. I sat back and watched these guys beat each other up. It was it wasn't slow, so I'll complain about a slow match. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso. You will complain about too much Circus Olay, flip-flying fast, going bananas, won't calm down. This was that very Randy Orton, the way that they portray his gimmick, and I think it was his style of match. It was fast and impactful when it needed to be, and it was slow and methodical when it needed to be on the other side.
I was going to say, that's the adjective we're looking for, methodical. This wasn't necessarily a slow match, but it was very methodic. I didn't take a whole lot of notes on this one either. This was another rematch from Clash of Champions. Except this wasn't an ambulance match. This was a Hell in the Cell. But
and a rematch from the one previous where he won with a goddamn backslide.
oh yeah, that's
SummerSlam.
right, because they allude to that one in this one too. So I did note that Sasha and Bailey must have used up all the weapons that were under the ring because Randy was forced to use his pants as a weapon.
Yeah, I was wondering how long he was going to keep those sweats on, and I was like, does he have? Is that going to be his ring gear? Did he put his ring gear on then sweats? But he had his ring gear on underneath.
I thought maybe he was going for a late '90s Rock thing where Rock wore those Adidas pants all the time.
Oh yeah, when he wore that in that big baggy shirt. I didn't understand the going outside the cage and then working their way to the top. It didn't make sense to me. It was a little stretched, a little weird.
Yeah, there was no reason for it other than let's spice this up and climb to the top. I think they wrote that part and forgot to write the end. There's like, yeah, guys, get up to the top. It'll be real exciting.
Why?
Well, what do we do when we get up there?
No.
I don't know. Hit them with a pipe.
When
Why is there a pipe on top of the...
When do we get
Why is there
down?
a pipe?
I don't know. When the referee yells at you.
Why is there a pipe with a handle on it on top of the Hell in the Cell?
I thought it was a lightsaber.
I didn't know what the hell it was, but one of the commentators said a lead pipe, so that's what I'm led to believe.
No. Fucking Todd.
Yeah, got him.
To believe.
But
thought,
he whacks old Drew in the kneecap with a lead pipe.
Kind of back a little bit, like in traditional, or not traditional, but in other Hell in the Cell matches, the reason that they've gone to the top is because somebody's trying to escape the other person.
Right. Randy was in control
and then
of this
decided
match.
to be like, he looked up and he goes, let's go up there. And you're going, but why? Now,
Why?
If he would have been beating the hell out of Drew, and Drew jumped up there and then kind of started to scale it to get away from him, yeah, what are you going to do? That wasn't the case. So I didn't understand why he was up there. So then he just stared at him. I just thought in my head, if I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm just going to be like, no, I'll just wait here. And then when they came down the other side, they had that little, like, perch. I don't know if you can see where for their feet to stand on. I mean, they put the holes in it so they can climb it as it is. And then they have those little perches when they came down the other side so they could do their little battle. And you're like, okay, one of these guys is falling through the commentator's table.
Right. That's what I was looking for. When they were climbing back down, I go, what side of the ring are they on? Are they on the commentator side? Yes, they are. And Drew McIntyre's going through that table.
Yeah.
And as much as it was the Diet Coke version of Mankind and Undertaker, which we understand, nobody's taken the Mankind bump ever again.
No.
So this was, what pay-per-view was that? King of the Ring? This is King of the Ring Light. But Drew McIntyre made it look good. He took that fall, spread eagle, and
boom.
You know, he had his head tucked, but he took it flat on his back, spread out. It looked like he died, even though it was like only a 10-foot drop.
You needed that JR. He's broken in half. Stop the match.
I mean, he did bite a blood condom or whatever and was spitting out blood, and they mentioned internal injuries a couple times, but
I mean, you got to sell a show.
I wasn't buying it.
I wasn't buying it. I mean, I get it. It probably hurt. I'm not saying it didn't hurt, but the internal hit so hard that you're coughing up blood, I wouldn't recommend continuing a wrestling match.
You're right.
I'm no doctor. Then they get him back into the ring. It goes a little bit longer, and Drew goes for his patented backslide. I said, well, this son of a bitch wins it with a backslide again. We're going to be out of I'm going to quit watching wrestling. And then Randy Orton gets him getting ready to go for that, what's he call it? What's Drew call that kick? The Claymore.
Claymore kick, yes.
I want to say the Brogue kick, but that's the other guy.
That's Sheamus.
So then getting ready to do that, he hit him with one, right? And then when he had him waiting for that other one, he's kind of tuning up the band and waiting for Randy to get up. I go, Randy's going to... I thought he was going to get him into an RKO right from the kick. But he dodged the kick, grabs him, hits him with a sideways RKO at that. It was kind of a rough RKO. And gets the old 1-2-3 strap on Randy Keith Orton.
Yeah, and I like the way they did this, actually. It wasn't one of the things like this finishing move 1 should take him down, but why is he doing 2? He got the 1 in, but Randy slithered out of the ring and spent a lot of time recovering. So it actually made sense that, shit, I better hit him with another Claymore if I want to keep this guy down for the count.
Yes.
But Randy, being the slippery snake that he is, dodged it, hit that RKO, and it was like, holy smokes. They're putting the belt on Orton. I love a heel champion, and I love Randy Orton as a heel. And I'm kind of old school in the sense where I like the older guys carrying the belt and carrying the company, if you will. And Randy being, I think he's in his 40s now. I think he's going to be a great heel champion. I hope they keep it on him for a while.
Yeah, I am not disappointed by this in any stretch of the imagination. Very happy with the turn. Randy doing his thing, kind of came out of nowhere again with his resurgence of his character and his gimmick. I don't know if it was all backstage, this push, if it was a natural thing that was just going, if he turned something around, but I don't know what he did, but why he got over so well again, but he's doing a hell of a job with it.
Right. I'm starting to get early 2000s Triple H vibes from Randy Orton, where he's older than most of the talent, but he's not Ric Flair old or Hulk Hogan old trying to carry the belt. Right. He is established, mature, conniving, and I think he's going to manipulate a lot of people and, in the storyline and just be a great heel.
I think that it just comes so easy to him. So I think that his first runs, it comes so easy to him that he didn't know how to handle it. He's like, "What do you mean? Why is this so hard? Why can't everybody do a match like this?"
Right.
Now he's in that teaching mode. Is the vibe that I'm picking up. You can take a guy like Drew and walk him through a classic match now. I mean, it's a match that I think will go down for a while.
And when someone's a jerk in real life, Randy Orton and a very recent champion, Brock Lesnar, when they're jerks in real life, it transfers over to the television screen, and they're a believable heel champion. And
what the hell?
So I'm excited. I might actually tune in every now and again to see Randall
Keith Orton hitting with the RKO. Well, that's your Hell in a Cell. That's the first part of the show. Continue on with our WWE talk and talk about NXT in the Halloween Havoc. So we had Halloween Havoc taking place on Wednesday, going up against AEW for their regular show. We stated that it was their go-home show, but we're liars, so we will move on.
Before we get into any wrestling, I just thought the setup that they did, the decorations, if you will, for Halloween Havoc, I thought they were sick. They just did an awesome job of the set building.
The wheel was real. The wheel was real. I was worried that it was going to be a digital wheel.
Okay, it was a physical wheel, but I think it was still...
well, it's still wrestling. Rigged. I'm not saying that it was like really a random match. I'm saying that it was literally a wheel. Like, I thought it was just going to be the wheel on the TV screen when they said that was going to be the match. Like, I thought it was just going to be like a...
Right.
Like, I'm like, no, don't do that. And I was talking with Andy, friend of the show, over the weekend, and he was going, I'd prepare to be disappointed. I bet you it's going to be a digital wheel. Now, I know there was somebody on the back there going, spin it all you want, but I'm stopping it where it needs to stop. Because the thing that I didn't like about this spin was that so we had the Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest were first, right?
Right.
And they came out and they both in the ring. Shotzi Blackheart comes out, all Halloween, gimmicked up, extra green hair, spins the wheel, and it stops on a Devil's Playground match. The bell rings, and off they go. So evidently the guys in the ring know what a Devil's Playground match is.
Right. The announcers told us.
The announcers told us.
Nobody told them.
in about 15 seconds into their match. So then you just go, oh, it's a falls count anywhere, no rules, beat the hell out of somebody match. So it's just funny to me. There's like, you could have at least said, Johnny should have got mad. Well, what's a Devil's Playground match? You know, he should have stomped around. They should have slowed down a little bit. They rushed right into it. Didn't care for that. So what did you think? Anything else about this match?
Well, I did feel like a silly goose for a second because after I saw the setup and everything, I fast forwarded through the introductions of Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest.
Missed the wheel spin.
And no, I stopped at the wheel spin, and I had made in my notes, I'm like, this Shotzi Blackheart wannabe, or who is this Shotzi Blackheart wannabe that they hired to spin this wheel? And later on in the show, I'm like, oh no shit, that is Shotzi Blackheart. I guess.
they got Shotzi Blackheart hosting this thing. Did you know that?
Why would she be hosting it? She's supposed to be driving a tank over, managers and whatnot.
Yeah,
I didn't see a reason for her to host it.
She got green hair. They didn't have a match for her, so they said, "Hey, you go over there, and you get to come out twice and go away after that." So Damian Priest comes out to that dude playing. We'll jump back just 2 seconds though. They had that guy playing that metal guitar there, his flying V, shredded up guitar because Triple H loves his shredding, melt your face metal.
Yeah, I enjoyed the guitar solo.
I was wondering if you were going to look him up and tell me all about him and his Wikipedia and every album that this guy has recorded.
No, I didn't like him that much. I saw, this guy's pretty good at guitar. Then when he started doing the individual, I was like, oh, he's good, but he's not that good. He's not like Metallica good.
Well, you must not have hated him that much either, because that one stupid band they had on there screaming a few months back, you went on and looked them all up and had to talk shit about them.
I think that's like episode 1 or 2 if you want to hop back into the archives, listening audience there. I think I spent about a half an hour just lambasting these fucking idiots.
So these guys go out, I don't know. When you have a Devil's Playground match and you can go and do anything in a match, it always gets annoying when they don't go do a whole lot of stuff. It just didn't seem like there was a few things and they went up and they just kind of fought on that platform for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the match because I like Damian Priest a lot and Johnny Gargano is talented. And that Falcon Arrow that Damian Priest gave Johnny Gargano onto the announce table, was like a holy smokes moment. But I guess my expectations just weren't that high for a Falls Count Anywhere match. They went around the graveyard area there. They went up to the platform, and that's really all I expected. The ending was kind of lame, how they tried to sell the tombstone being real concrete and Gargano struggling to pick it up. It was just like, ugh,
and then
right.
Goofy guy in the Scream mask that got involved.
Yeah, we never found out who he was.
No, we'll jump all the way.
He makes another appearance later on in the show.
Nope.
We still never find out who he is.
Never.
So maybe that was a hook you point where you better tune in next Wednesday, folks.
Tune in next Wednesday. I just thought there could have been, I don't know. Should have gave it some kind of other match stipulation then if they're not going to go too crazy. And I know it's not ECW 1997 and they're going to be, taking New Jack dives, but for a Devil's Playground match, it was kind of damn near no different than just any other match you see nowadays. So maybe that's maybe I'm just
no count out match.
Overstimulated, if you will,
This was a Devil's Playground match in NXT is a Jon Moxley match in AEW.
You took the words out of my mouth. So that's just, I guess, where I'm at on that. Overall, the match was good, and we get Johnny Gargano getting over and hitting him with that spinning DDT, what they call the slice of bread.
I think they did. But anyway, a fella in a Scream costume comes out, as we just touched on.
Oh, yeah.
Hands Johnny Gargano a tombstone. Gargano sells the weight of the tombstone as real concrete, bashes Damian Priest over the head of it, and he falls into a shed or an outhouse or something and crashes it down.
Yeah.
Gargano gets the pin, and he is the new NXT North American champion and the first 2-time North American champion.
Ooh, that and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee.
And that's about it.
I did enjoy the match. I just thought for a spin the wheel, make the deal, all this kind of rigmarole. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying
For making such a big deal out of the build-up, they didn't really deliver much of a big deal.
Right, but it was a good match. It was entertaining.
Right.
But
It's hard to have a bad match with these two.
yeah. So then where we move on to, we get that whole Pat McAfee backstage thing, right? Or his old spiel with those two.
Yeah, before the commercial break, we get Pat McAfee walking into the arena with his new buddies, Danny Burch and Orny Lorcan. And
easy for you to say, not me. I get tongue-tied with it.
And let's see.
Then they come back and they get out in the ring, right?
Yeah, they come back and we are in the ring with McAfee, Lorcan, and Burch. And McAfee cuts a hell of a promo. We've known that for a while, since way back, when he was feuding with Cole. But he just over-explained this thing, man. It was just too much.
Well,
he could have simplified it a lot, in my opinion, but maybe he just wanted to catch everyone up.
I think they had to fill in the blanks on a couple things. They had to fill in the blank on, dang it, Eric, what's your buddy there that dresses up like the Flasher that you hate?
Ridge Holland.
Ridge Holland. They had to fill in at the end of that last show when he had Adam Cole over his shoulder and dumped him out there. Like, why did Ridge Holland do that? And then when Ridge Holland got hurt,
they had to explain that.
They couldn't go anywhere with it, right? So they had to explain. They couldn't build up to what was happening, that Ridge Holland was being hired by somebody, if you will, or they couldn't build up to this thing. So then they had to kind of speed things up. So I think they were just trying to fill in a few holes to make sure that they knew what was going down.
Yeah, I think maybe they could have spread that over a little bit, because McAfee's just shoving information down your throat. He's like, well, first, back in 2008, I hired this guy to do this, and I hired this guy to consult with Triple H to make NXT, and, he just went, I don't know. He just seemed to over-explain it, but the whole tag team situation, Ridge Holland,
Oney Lorcan,
this, that, and the other, explains every injury, everything that goes on, and it's all right, whatever. And then he is rudely interrupted by Kyle O'Reilly, and following Kylo is his buddy Pete Dunne. And when I saw Pete Dunne, I wasn't really an NXT low back when he was hot shit. But I think I remembered just enough to be like, oh my God, is this the finger guy? And this is the finger guy, isn't it?
It is, but he's more than the finger guy. Give him a chance. He is more than the finger guy.
He's not Finger Cassidy. Yeah, there's more to him.
There's way more to Pete Dunne.
Okay.
It was a gimmick. It's he's from the UK, so that's a very gimmicky thing over there, is the finger, the digit manipulation and all that. Marty Scurll, it was famous for that. Got a picture of him there behind me somewhere. He's famous for that stuff. But anyways, let that go. You'll like this guy. But what happens? Pete Dunne swings a chair and takes out his friend Kyle O'Reilly. What is happening?
The Pete Dunne double cross smacks old Kylo with a chair,
and
he joins Team McAfee. And we're going to get all the viruses off your computer with Team McAfee right now. We got Pete Dunne. We got Horny Lorcan. We got Danny Bonaducci. We got the whole squad. We're cleaning all the viruses off your computer. Team McAfee for life.
There's always an update when you don't want it, too.
Right. Just in the middle of a live podcast, why don't we just restart your computer for you?
Bing! Would you like to restart right now? No. Yes, and the McAfee. Be interested to see where they run with this guy, if he can stick around for a while. I hope he can. Or
McAfee or Dunsky?
McAfee. Dune,
Right.
He'll be around. He's always there. Now that he's back after his hiatus from, I don't know if it was from traveling or what, but during this
Probably
COVID.
stuck in Europe for COVID. Yeah.
This COVID nonsense. And then we move on
to William Regal and Cameron Grimes
Oh,
chatting in the backstage area. Still not a big fan of Cameron Grimes. Everyone seems to like him, so I'm trying to give him a chance. But old snake oil salesman gimmick, I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, I don't care for him either. This got a little wacky, this whole thing. They come back to it later, too. There's a couple funny parts, but we'll move on. This is the Jake Atlas NXT Cruiserweight Championship match.
Well, yeah, right before the Jake Atlas match, Cameron Grimes, after his little chat with William Regal instructs him to go get into this van.
Oh, I had my timing off, so I didn't think the van happened until after this match. But okay, yeah, so the van happened.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The van pulls up, and it's full of smoke, and it's playing music, and who hops out of the back of the van, Brian? That's
Bad
right.
Street, Atlanta, GA.
Doc Hendricks, everybody.
Doc Hendricks. The fabulous
Or
Freebirds.
Yes.
Michael P.S. Hayes.
Yes, sir. Hops out, and he does his Freebird dance and
He's strutting.
skitters on, and Cameron Grimes hops into the van, and we find out where he's going a little later on in the show.
Do you know why it's called Bad Street? Because the deeper you go, the badder it gets. And my house is the last one on the left.
Michael Hayes looking good, man, for being 106 years old.
He is there's I don't think Michael Hayes has a bigger fan than Michael Hayes.
And Michael Hayes, precisely.
He is very proud of himself, man. He's still got that. He's still walking like the rooster walk out there and strutting and hitting his hands, and they're playing Bad Street. It was funny. All right, so we get Jake Atlas taking on Escobar Santos.
Yeah. Santos Escobar, Jake Atlas, and guilty of fast forwarding through the introductions of this one. You said this was for the cruiserweight.
Yeah, that's what this.
Yeah,
is.
I don't know. I guess so. But this one was over in a hurry.
Yeah,
Escobar wins pretty much in a squash.
Yes, Santos, little helper. Makes me think of a Simpsons episode every time I see his name when Bart applied for a credit card for Santa's little helper and it got made to Santos L helper. Anyways, we move on. Santos Escobar wraps it up quick. I don't discuss this over the weekend with Andy. I don't really care for really anybody in this match, and I found it kind of boring. And this whole cruiserweight thing, I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, we discussed this last week that pretty much the whole show is cruiserweights.
Yeah.
So why are we singling out another title, another unnecessary title? But we move on to our gimmick match of the night. I was hoping for the Monster Truck Sumos, but we got something worse instead. We got Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis in the Haunted Boneyard Swamp match, a.k.a. a pile of cinematic horse shit.
Yeah, Haunted House of Terror match is the official name. This Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes. Go and watch it if you want. I don't know. Do you want to tear into this?
I don't know. It's just the same shit we saw. WrestleMania, they debuted their cinematic attempts with the Boneyard match, and it seemed to be the majority of wrestling fans really dug it. So they just keep rolling with it. We got the swamp match with Bray Wyatt and that other big guy that wrestles on Raw Underground now.
Braun Strowman.
Yeah, that guy. And now we're taking a van to a trailer park in a swamp, and we're going into this old beat up house, and there's zombie referees in the corner, and Dexter Lumis is chasing around Cameron and breaking in doors. And although Cameron Grimes is in fear for his life, and there's dead bodies chasing him around and a serial killer chasing him around, he wanders into a bathroom, sees a unidentified figure in the shower, and decides this is the perfect time to strip down and hop in the shower and try to get laid. And surprise, surprise, it's another zombie.
Yeah. This was
We
whack.
get some fake contrived movie fighting between Dexter Loomis and Cameron Grimes. And Grimes is attacked again by zombies, makes his escape. Who's in the van driving, Brian?
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember Eric. I'm terrible.
Dexter Loomis.
Oh yeah, I zoned out. I was doing something else at the same
Yeah.
time. I missed the spot.
I mean, I envy you for for getting something else done or reading a sentence on your cell phone, because whatever it was more entertaining than this. Cameron Grimes scoots and boogie out of the van, hits the road running.
Yes.
And this match is to be continued, and I wish it wasn't.
But the worst part is that they should have at least started it off through Halloween, right? This match wouldn't be continued until next week, which is going to be now into November. And like so,
Right, so
they could have started it last week or something, like a lead into it.
I mean, yeah, instead of doing to be continued, then wrapping up in the same show, they definitely could have had it, you know, brought the cinematic fans, brought them into the loop last week and delivered to them this week. I think they might have been able to bring in a few more viewers with that, but they end up wrapping it up later in the show.
So we'll continue on. Then this one, I think where Eric was waiting for here.
Yeah, this one here, been waiting this match for a minute. We got my favorite female star in wrestling right now, Rhea Ripley, and going up against Raquel Gonzalez. And these two girls, man, they're big. They saw the tail of the tape. Rhea Ripley standing at 5'10", and that's a believable 5'10" in my book.
Yes, that's
at least with them boots on.
That's not some 1980s 5'10".
No, that's not Andre the Giant being 7'4" and really only being 6'10". I think she's really 5'10". Raquel Gonzalez scraping the 6-foot area, and this match delivered, man. Their experience shows, their chemistry shows. Everything in that ring was smooth, and they used power moves to their advantage. And I didn't see a whole lot of obvious cooperation going on.
No,
they seem to put this together really well.
My thought is that usually two big workers in the ring, I'm going to say big guys. I know it's 2020, but these were ladies, but whatever. Two big wrestlers in the ring, big and tall. Usually, to me, it always seems kind of to offset each other. They never work right. They can't get a vibe going. It always sounds like a great thing. The Giant Gonzalez and Undertaker. Like, you know, that type of stuff. I mean, Diesel and Taker was okay, but they can't get going. But these guys, these two big workers here, Ripley and Gonzalez, they worked well together. They beat each other up pretty good, big power moves. Usually it's that opposite, though, right? You got to put that little guy in there, the little person, the opposite side, and then that was what yings.
You got to have
David
to and
Yang.
Goliath.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see Goliath versus Goliath. But the one thing I'll take away from Rhea Ripley, which I try not to shit on her at all, but her punches, her body punches, look like absolute shit in this match. She was ending her punches. Oh, it wasn't just weak sauce. She was ending them bitches open-handed. So she was essentially giving Raquel Gonzalez Kamala belly slap, and she's supposed to sell them. And so yeah, those were weak.
Just irritating her ribs. Just
giving her a little rib ticklers. But Raquel Gonzalez powerbombed Rhea into the hockey glass.
Yeah, that was dope.
And then just threw her down onto the ground like a piece of trash. And it was just like, ooh, man, I would hate somebody if they did that shit to me. Yeah,
because they can, right? Be like, oh my God, you can do that to me? Yeah, that was pretty intense. I like this match. These two got a lot going on. They kept it kind of short, which I think is good to not hide, but, you know, accent and go out on that high note. And
right, yeah, it wasn't too long. It wasn't too drawn out. And to highlight the lack of obvious cooperation, you see Rhea Ripley sitting on the top turnbuckle, getting ready to climb to the top, and you already know a top rope spot's coming, especially with these two big, strong girls, you know. And as as scheduled, Gonzalez approaches Rhea on the top turnbuckle, and you're expecting Rhea to just stand up and go for a superplex or something. But no, Gonzalez just powers her up and sends her into that somersault over her head. And she hit the ring hard, and she sold the shit out of it, especially with her face. Eyes rolled in the back of her head.
Yeah.
Looked like she got in a car wreck.
Pretty damn good match. Go back, fire up your DVRs, and check that one out if you did not check out NXT's Halloween Havoc. We get the...
Rhea ends up taking this one with the Riptide. One Riptide.
Just one.
Just took one finisher to put her out.
Son of a bitch.
Rhea gets 1, 2, 3. I couldn't be happier.
Good times. Rhea Ripley. Yeah, that was a good one. I was I didn't realize that was on the card. I didn't pay attention to it or missed it, and so I was happy to see that. It was very entertaining. Then we get over, what do we got here next, Eric? Cut the footage. I got some Cameron Grimes run down the street. Is that this gimmick part coming up next?
Yeah, it's just the teaser for the second part of the match.
Oh, yeah.
We got Cameron Grimes, Forrest Gumping it out of there and just running. Go to a commercial break. Come back from our commercial break, and we got our comedy sketch of the night. We got Drake Maverick dressed up as NWO Hulk Hogan. I actually thought it was kind of funny. And who does Hulk Hogan get attacked by? He gets attacked by the Yeti.
The Yeti.
Also, I'm assuming the other guy was supposed to be the Giant.
I would guess so. And it may not have necessarily been NWO Hogan. Now, Hogan was famous for being in the black in the NWO and wearing that. But in that particular Halloween Havoc from, what was it, 96, 95, he was wearing black because he was had been, whatever, he was so dark and fighting the Dungeon of Doom in that match, he was wearing black. So I don't know if they were just reminiscing on that match from Halloween Havoc or NWO Hogan. But either way, that's my geekness kicking out in there for you. Little useless fact for you.
I'm going to assume you're right about that one because
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the building.
And I'm going to use the excuse of this was 25 years ago and I wasn't a WCW fan back then. So, yeah, I just saw Hogan wearing black and I assumed it was NWO.
Not only was I there, but
I was wrong.
I got free tickets from the Macho Man. Not necessarily didn't give me, but he gave my neighbors free tickets, and then they took me. So they went.
Was he up at Murray's Auto Shop with Gorgeous George?
Yeah, no, it was pre-Gorgeous George, but yeah, he was he was doing an autograph signing at something like that, and my neighbors had a son, and he hooked him up with some tickets, and then they took me. It was pretty dope. So then.
Nice.
We get
hold on. One more guest appearance in this little skit.
Oh, you are right. I forgot about this.
Yeah, we had Drake Maverick as Hulk Hogan getting attacked by the Yeti and the Giant. And Killian Dane pops out of the wall dressed as, you guessed it, the Shockmaster.
And the best is when he goes, "You didn't trip." And he goes, "Yeah, I know. I fixed that part earlier."
Yeah, I'm not tripping. And Drake Maverick just comedies it up, puts on the Stormtrooper helmet himself and plays it off like he trips on accident. And we got our little clown show going on.
I thought it was pretty funny. Well done. Little throwback to old school, and not even so much old school anymore because I just admitted I was there, so that means I'm old.
And then we get right back to our Cameron Grimes match.
Oh, yeah. Cameron
Grimes runs into the building, gets attacked by some ringside graveyard zombies. Dexter escapes from the graveyard into the ring. Dexter Loomis is waiting for him. And we just get some crazy more zombie spider walking chicks. Dexter Loomis picks one up over his head, chucks him at Drake Maverick, puts Cameron Grimes to sleep, and that's the end of that story. So they did mix it a little bit where we got part cinematic, part wrestling match, but it still wasn't a wrestling match because we had zombies and I don't know. It was just a waste of time.
Agreed. Dexter Loomis is your winner for whatever that's worth. And then we get to moving into our main event of Io Shirai, Candice LeRae. They do a little video package stuff.
Just before that, Tommaso Ciampa did cut a very nice
Oh,
promo
yes.
on the Velveteen Rabbit there, and so yeah, I just Ciampa, he's gold. I can't wait to see him back at the top where he belongs. Not a fan of Velveteen, especially the past couple weeks with his Sonny Kiss selling. But yeah, I'll be tuning in just to watch Ciampa beat the shit out of him.
There you go. And then we get Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. They get to come out.
Oh God, this is our main event.
This is the main event. They come out and spin the wheel, make the deal.
And this match,
what did they call this one?
They called it the tables, ladders, and scares.
Oh, I knew there was something that was just
yuck.
The name. Just call it a TLC match and move on.
I wanted to institute my Candice LeRae rule where I just don't watch any of her matches because they all suck. But this was the main event of the night.
Yeah.
So I decided to watch it. And I don't know. I was disappointed if I was expecting a good match. I wasn't disappointed because I was still right because it was going to be a shitty match. So whatever. It was what it was. Candice LeRae pulls out a table from under the ring and there's a canvas bag attached to it. She dumps out the bag and it's rubber human body parts and she shrieks. And yeah, that was our scares part of the tables, ladders, and scares.
And that set the tone for the rest of the match. I don't didn't necessarily hate it where I was wanting to turn it off. I wasn't all drawn in either as I was for Bailey and Sasha earlier that we spoke about, right? I was all in there, enjoyed that match. This one I didn't sit back and didn't care why they were fighting. They fought, it seems to me, like 7,000 times, and just another one with some gimmicks, and they put enough gimmicks and enough gaga around it, and you can make it look okay, I guess.
Right. That's about it.
Does that sum it up?
It was what it was.
The Scream guy shows up.
Scream guy makes another appearance, picks up Candice LeRae, puts her at the top of the ladder, and we get our spot of the night. I think this might have been.
That was a good spot, though.
Shotzi Blackheart comes back from her wheel spinning duties and attacks the Scream guy, gets him out of the picture. Io Shirai pushes Candice LeRae off the top of the ladder. She ends up taking a bump through a setup ladder that's connected to the ring apron. And man, that was brutal. She landed right on her knee and shin. And I think she's going to have a little limp for a while.
Yeah, she might have to go home and lick her wounds for a little bit on that one. And then Io Shirai
wins and retains.
I'm going to get too much into it. It just was a bunch of gaga, to hide a lot of shit. And there you go. The Scream guy, like, they didn't go rip the mask off of him, or a girl. It could be a girl. I can't choose. Didn't do anything. Like, they didn't expose answer any question with that. It was just weird.
Maybe that's our cliffhanger. Maybe that's our reason to tune in next week.
Boy, if that's what they're leaving me with, son of a bitch. I'd have been more. I'm more likely to tune in because Pat McAfee's going to talk more, and maybe Adam Cole will come back, and they can light this Undisputed Era feud up with the McAfee Virus Squad. So it's like but to leave me on a Scream mask guy, who cares?
Right.
I'm out of here. If that's what I got to hold on to, I'm hitting the bricks. All right, close that one. We can do get rid of that. Get my notes up here. All right, we can run down AEW if you got anything else to chat about there from NXT.
No, I'm about wrapped on NXT, so I had AEW on, but I really wasn't paying attention. I was kind of wrestled out, to be honest.
Happens.
After watching a 3-hour pay-per-view and then a 2-hour clusterfuck. And but this was a important Dynamite
pre-go home lead up Road 2 show.
Yes, well, we got our semifinals out of the way, or our quarterfinals, whatever you want to say it is. We got our final four out of the way on our elimination tournament there.
Right. So
and we started off with Adam Page versus Wardlow. And
but even before that, you get a Wardlow MJF interview backstage, and MJF's not letting Wardlow talk. He makes a statement along the lines of, well, I own Wardlow, so whatever he has is mine, so he should go out there and win the championship, and then I'll be the champion. Kind of, he lays that out. They're driving a wedge between those two slowly.
Right. We've seen this one coming for a while. I must have fast-forwarded past that interview.
And then
I started right off with Adam Page.
Sammy Guevara comes out, and MJF and Sammy are in each other's face. They're talking shit back and forth. MJF tells Wardlow to go get ready for his match, and then they're talking back and forth. Don't MJF. Yeah. So nonetheless, they move on. Big dicking each other back and forth, and then there you go. I'm not your buddy. I'm not your friend. All right, Hangman versus Wardlow. This was exactly what you would think it would be. The outcome is what you expected it to be. The match was good. Wardlow got to do... I thought that it was an even match, knowing Adam Page was going to win. There wasn't a question.
Right.
There wasn't a question.
Everybody knew that.
But, we've discussed in AEW previously, we hate when people take other people to the nth degree in a match. Example, Orange Cassidy, Jericho. Orange Cassidy, Cody. So on and so forth. But I think Wardlow earned to go battle with Adam Page. I mean, we're supposed to be working out of this tournament and working down the tournament now. So this was two guys that already won once, right? They should be able to go through and carry on a match. Neither one looked overly dominant. Neither one looked overly weak. So it was a well-placed battle of just two guys, two country big sumbitches beating the hell out of each other.
Right. Essentially, we're down to the top four people in the company who deserve a title shot. Right. So, it's going to be an even competition. And this is one instance that I'm accepting of the fact that it took two finishing moves from Adam Page to put Wardlow down, because we've got our David versus Goliath thing. Page is a small guy, Wardlow's a big guy, and in this instance, it makes Wardlow look good even though he lost, because he's still a big monster, and it took two buckshots to put him down for the count.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big weight difference between them. Adam Page is just farm boy strong, but Wardlow is literally an ox. So they didn't get too in-depth with the, oh, my God, an F10. They called it an F10. He hit one of them or whatever, and that was fine. So I'm glad that they seem to – I just hate when they oversell that F10 thing. Oh, it's an F10. Get it.
Right. You're not going to shit on Lesnar. Lesnar could walk into that company and wipe the floor with everyone in there.
Yeah, so then we get we'll just kind of move this along here. This one won't be as in-depth because NXT and Hell in a Cell deserved that. So this is just a rundown of kind of what happened. Eddie Kingston's in the ring, cutting a hell of a promo, doing what Eddie Kingston does. What is it with Eddie Kingston and hating cameramen? He goes up to that cameraman in the corner and he goes, hey, get off my ring. I don't care if they told you to be up here. You didn't train to be in my world. And he just pushes the guy down. It's like the second or third time that he's pushed a cameraman out of his face. Maybe he's not used to him from being in the indies. I don't know what's happening, but he hates cameramen.
It's his gimmick. Lance Archer beats up people off camera backstage, and Eddie Kingston pushes cameramen out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, it was just funny to me. Eddie Kingston in the ring. He's going on. He didn't do this. He didn't give up. How you doing out there, Lance Archer? And we move on. Eddie Kingston versus Matt Sydal, also known as Evan Bourne at one point in his life.
Yes.
The only thing the only thing that Evan Bourne is famous for is catching an RKO as he was getting a he was moonsaulting onto Randy Orton. As he's coming around, Randy snaps in and grabs an RKO on him.
That's his claim to fame.
That's all I got. Nothing against the guy. He's in great shape and he can fly around and he's, great on his feet, but Never cared for him for a wrestler. Just didn't do it. This match was exactly what you thought was going to be. It was going to get a few Matt Sydal flying in there, a little Eddie Kingston aggressiveness, and Eddie is not going to lose getting ready to go into Matt Sydal getting ready to fight Jon Moxley in an I Quit match at their pay-per-view.
Right. Kingston dominates, finishes off Sydal with that bulldog choke, and we get who is it came in? I didn't get the note here.
Oh, the Butcher
forced
Butcher,
yeah,
Blade,
Butcher
and
the
Bunny,
Blade.
and the Bunny, they come into the ring when he has him in that chokehold. He's got him in that. Eddie's got him in the chokehold, and he says, "I want you to say I quit. Say I quit." And Bunny's holding the microphone up to Sydal's face, and he yells, "I quit." So leading you into that I quit match.
All right.
Oh yeah, he's yelling, "Say I quit, Moxley. Say it." So he's right. He was calling Matt Sydal Moxley, or he's screaming, "Say it." So I don't know. It was weird. This to say Moxley. You could have just been yelling, "Say I quit." I want to hear you say I quit. We got it. Then you get the Excalibur Young Bucks interview.
Yes, Excalibur interviewing FTR and the Young Bucks. Buck Hogan says they've succeeded by themselves with nobody's help. If they don't win at Full Gear, they will never challenge FTR again.
Well, that's just a gimmick there, because somebody else could beat them eventually.
Right.
So you never charge. So what, the FTR is gonna be the champion forever? I mean, I get what they're saying and putting a little stank on it for leading up to the pay-per-view, teasing that Matt's foot is hurt, his ankle, but he'll be there. Are you kidding me? So if they're talking about it, it's we're being worked.
Right.
So whatever.
I
I thought the interview part was kind of boring. I like the Young Bucks. I like FTR, but you had Excalibur in there. He's goofy. He bugs me a little bit, and I didn't care for this. And they had them in separate rooms, and then FTR just gets mad and pulls their mics off and bounces. And Young Bucks nobody really said anything for this interview. That's what bugged me about it.
No. Just, I guess, trying to put a little more at stake by pulling the Cody and saying, "I'll never challenge you again."
I mean, yeah, they got that out of the way, but other than that, they could have put that in the beginning.
Right. From there, we move on to the town hall meeting with the Inner Circle, hosted by Dasha and Tony Schiavone.
The Schiavone. Yeah, you get, who do we get out here talking? Luchasaurus was first, and he mumbled and rumbled through some question and sounded like he's never talked in his entire life. And then you got Bischoff was there, and who else was there? There was somebody else, wasn't there? Peter Avalon, maybe? I don't remember. Nonetheless, this thing was weird.
Yeah, Peter Avalon was there. That's right. Because I remember thinking, like, oh boy, this guy's like only on Dark nowadays, right where he belongs. I don't know why we're sticking him on TV now. Nobody gives a shit about Peter Avalon, the librarian.
This thing was weird. So like last week they did a song and dance number as best friends. And no play on words, no pun intended.
Right.
And then this week they're having a town hall meeting with questions from Eric Bischoff and Luchasaurus. I don't know.
To see if MJF deserves to be in the Inner Circle.
I mean, MJF's response to Luchasaurus' thing was funny. Like, what are you going to do for them economically? And he just has a chart. It just says pre-MJF, and it just shows a chart of the Inner Circle's profits. And then it says post-MJF, and it just had an arrow that pointed straight up. He goes, "I've done the research, people." It's.
I mean, it's very obvious what they're doing, and it's just lazy and stupid. The United States presidential election is going on right now, and it's just AEW trying to piggyback off the popularity of the presidential election by making a wrestling gimmick all of a sudden an election type thing where we need to have town hall meetings, and it's just lazy and forced and unnecessary.
Yeah. What else we got out of this? You got anything else out of this?
Let's see. Jericho asks MJF to explain why he deserves a spot, and instead MJF lists all the things he's done recently for Jericho, including giving him the best segment of his career last week.
Oof.
Which I think Jericho believes in real life was the best segment he's ever done. And yeah, oof is right, Brian.
MJF asks Jericho, "What have I done?" Jericho replies, "You haven't beat me." Jericho challenges him to a match at Full Gear.
Yes. If MJF wins this match, he is officially in the Inner Circle, and he's approached by Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz. Santana and Ortiz.
You made him one person.
I'm like Santana and Ortega. That's what I was going to call him. But anyway, he's approached by those two fellas, and they say, just because you're going to, or if you make it into the Inner Circle, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to fit in, and we're not friends, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Boo. Okay, cool. Great. Wonderful. Move on. You get Taz backstage, cuts a promo with his boys backstage, says he wants people to know why they want Will Hobbs in the group. Taz says they care about money, and Hobbs is fast, strong, and smart. Everything he wants in his group. So time's running out. There you go, Eric. Your boy Taz with Brian Cage. And he made it, right? Was he there, or was he tied up? Could Brian Cage not make it?
Well, I honestly think that if we're going for money here, I think they need to head down to Mexico, and they need to offer Tessa Blanchard a spot and Team Taz here, because she's the only one who out of all these schlubs, she beat Brian Cage clean.
I was talking to Andy over the weekend, and he goes, "I didn't think I was going to get it a couple weeks ago. I didn't think I was going to get Eric being mad at Tessa Blanchard beating Brian Cage clean." And then you asked him I had to set one up for you because we almost didn't get it in. That was pretty funny.
Spoiler alert, I forgot to put it in this week too, so we got an ad-libbed one.
Then we move down. We go through that TNT Championship lumberjack match. Cody, Orange Cassidy. Barn burner. All right, there goes Eric's notes.
That's what I thought of this match, Brian.
I didn't know why it was so important for them to make this a lumberjack match. To me, a lumberjack
that made
match
no sense.
A lumberjack match to me has been two guys that can't get their hands on each other.
Right.
Somebody's eluding them. They're out. There's been run-ins. There's been interferences. So they're going to put lumberjacks in, keep the guys in the ring, keep the interference outside the ring. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. That wasn't the match. The match went all in the ring last week, and they stayed in for the time limit draw, the 20-minute.
Yeah, there was no chicken shit in the equation, and that's the only reason for lumberjacks.
So I didn't understand the point of the lumberjacks. Usually it's a mixed match of good guys, bad guys, heels and faces. So when the heel goes out to the face side of all the lumberjacks, they beat up him. The heel goes out to the blah blah blah, back and forth. That makes sense. This was just a bunch of slub that they just needed to get out and give them some TV time.
They just wanted to show some people that
they
just wanted to put some people in front of a camera. Yeah, and I think that was their only reason.
Like, hey, AEW Dark, go stand out there around the ring. So this match, I didn't care. Whatever, dude.
Again, same complaint I have every time Orange Cassidy is fighting a top-tier contender. Cody's trying to go through this reinvention thing where he's a badass now, but still, up to this point, he had to cheat to beat Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy basically had him dead to rights, and he had to rely on outside interference to get this win.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Why?
Come on. Why are they so determined to make Orange Cassidy a championship contender, a guy who can quote unquote carry the company, that's always been the burden or the titles of the champion, is you're essentially carrying the company. Do they just want to say fuck you to the Jim Cornettes and the old school wrestling fans that bad, where they're going to do everything in their power to put Orange Cassidy on top of the mountain?
I don't know. Oh, maybe. I don't know how to answer it.
But it's just week by week, they're making Cody look worse and worse. Eventually, you keep doing this to Cody, or Cody keep doing it to himself, however this is playing out, nobody's going to take Cody seriously at all. You got him jobbing to a guy who takes nothing seriously and is about 5'8" and 130 pounds.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing with it either. I defended Orange Cassidy enough for a while, and now I've even turned on him that I don't get it to this point.
Well, it's just whatever. Do what you want to try and make Orange Cassidy look as cool as hell, but you're taking one of the top 3 guys in your entire company, the guy who's partially responsible, besides Chris Jericho, partially responsible for making this thing as popular as it is, and you're burying him to make Orange Cassidy look good. Who is Orange Cassidy? Orange Cassidy wasn't the reason anybody went to All In when they had the show in Chicago.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy was not. Why are you burying and making look like shit one of your top guys to just push some indie mud show wrestler? I am so lost on that.
I think that, yeah, I can't answer. They want their own character. Cody comes from everything else, from WWE, from New Japan, from Ring of Honor, then to AEW. Orange Cassidy would be a 100% their own creation. I don't know.
Yeah,
why don't they do this to Wardlow? He'd be your own creation too.
I could buy Wardlow beating Cody. You give him a couple months to build up, and to
big, strong, and powerful,
look like and perform like a top talent, and then you have him beat Cody, and I'm like, yeah, shit could happen. But Orange Cassidy's just going in there and beating and pushing to the limit every top talent they have in there. Has he fought Moxley yet?
No, he hasn't. He will soon.
I'd say if Moxley sells for this guy and lays down for this guy, that's it, man. I might have to quit reviewing this shit.
And then we move on. After that, we get all that out of the way. Oh, sorry. We get our best friends backstage with Miro, and they get Kip Sabian, and they get a little trick-or-treat present, and then they throw candy at him, and they beat up the best friends, and they move on. Nobody cares. All right, and then you get your NWA Women's Championship match. Serena Deeb, who just won the NWA Championship Tuesday night from in the NWA, because they're starting like their NWA pay-per-views. I forget what they call it now, like the old school TNA style, when they'd be like $9.99. You can order a pay-per-view and watch the NWA. Starting
okay,
some nonsense like that. So she won it the night before and got on the airplane and got right to AEW so she could defend it against Leah Hirsch. However you say it. And that happened.
Yeah, that's it. Serena won. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, who'd have thought the new champion didn't lose it to a jobber in the women's division on AEW in a division in a federation or wrestling league that's not even hosting her title. Get out of Dodge. All right, we'll move on.
Sean Spears defeated VSK.
That happened too. That did happen. This episode started out so good with the MJF backstage and Wardlow, and then they had that first match in the with Adam Page and Wardlow, and then they had Eddie Kingston cutting the promo. You knew Matt Sydal match was just going to be squashed, but it was still Eddie Kingston talking. It was very interesting, and then on the Cody Orange Cassidy, we start to go slightly downhill, and then from there we pick up pace, running downhill now, full steam. NWA match, and then that Shawn Spears, VSK nonsense. And then we get into Kenny Omega and Penta El Zero with Rey Fenix.
Yes. We attempt to push the nose up on this one and try to go out on a high note. But
we go out flat. I wouldn't say we go out down. We don't go out up. Again,
fill me in here, Brian. Why is Penta in this match?
Oh, yes, because Rey Fenix was reported he got hurt somewhere in the match, and then they cut a promo with it looked like they were in a semi-truck trailer with Eddie Kingston, Penta,
Makes sense.
and Rey Fenix. They just cut a random promo, and Eddie said, "You're hurt, you're injured, you got to withdraw from the match, and you got to give it to your brother. You got to give it to your brother. You got to withdraw from the match."
Because in AEW, we just make up our own rules. And if you're out of the match, you just hand it to whoever you want. I'm surprised he didn't give it to Orange Cassidy.
At least they handed it to the guy that he was fighting.
Right.
At least it makes somewhat sense. You gotta step aside. And then he goes, and then Eddie says, "When I win and beat Jon Moxley at Full Gear for the championship, then I get to fight my best friend for the championship because Penta's gonna beat Kenny Omega and win this whole thing." Blah, blah, blah. So there you go.
Nobody, unless they're in the middle of a crack binge, would believe that Penta was going to beat Kenny Omega in this match. We're not seeing Penta and Adam Page in the finals of this title tournament here.
Listen, did Penta wrestle in North Carolina? Because we figured out last week that Kenny Omega has wrestled in North Carolina. It was one of his accolades. He can translate Japanese, and he's wrestled in North Carolina. So, yes, this match, again, it wasn't a spoiler. I know nothing, but you just know Kenny's going to win. Hangman's already there. Those two have to go at it. They did the tag team thing. They were divided towards the end. Kenny's on a new build of this new person. It was Kenny and Hangman all the way from the beginning, no matter what. No matter how you want to look at it. They start out with some chops and some back and forth, and Kenny's awkwardly keeping his shirt on, and then Penta goes for some chops, and he kind of pulls his hand back, and Kenny lifts up his shirt, and he's got the AAA Mega Championship on that he beat Penta for in AAA down there in Mexico. So a taunting of his good old school rival Penta from AAA. So whatever that's worth. Back and forth. This match, I didn't hate it. I didn't care for it. It just existed.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat with you on this one. If you want to do Lucha versus Lucha, as I stated last week, I can kind of take a step back from reality and just enjoy the show because that's what Lucha is. But we got Twinkle Toes Omega here versus a Lucha, and it's just going to be a clusterfuck. You put these two in a ring, and it's not going to be fluid. It's not going to be smooth by any means.
No, it wasn't complete garbage. It wasn't, it wasn't a 5-star. Oh my God, I can't believe I just watched this match. So I don't know.
Meltzer probably gave this one 5 stars.
Think so? Does he rate these?
No, I'm sure he actually gave it 4. I'm assuming.
Does he rate
He
these
is
matches?
such an Omega mark.
Does he rate like the AEW like Wednesday night matches too? I know he does like all the big stuff, right? But does he like go every single match?
I think he does, especially which there's rumors going around that he's on Tony Khan's payroll. So
is this like
he's got a
is this like a payola, a 5-star payola? Oh boy, Coca-Cola. Anyways, that happened. I didn't care for the match. I liked Penta. I liked Kenny. I don't know. At one point in my wrestling career, I liked Kenny.
Where I'm going out on a limb here, and I think I saw your turn on Kenny when I pointed out that his 5-star amazing matches in Japan, he was always being carried by the other guy he was fighting. You're like, what about the match with Okada? You're like, Yeah, Okada made him look good because Okada's a fucking
What about the match?
fucking wrestling god.
What about the match with Jericho? That was pre-crazy wackadoo Jericho here in AEW, but that was Jericho and Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like you put Kenny in a ring with a average talent and you're not going to get a 5-star match.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's wrestling for the week. AEW, we're getting ready to go into their pay-per-view on the 6th or whatever the next Saturday is there. Not this weekend because that's Halloween. Let me see here. Calendar, November 7th. It's a Saturday. They got that going on for Full Gear. And then we had NXT with their what do we call it? What do we call it here? Halloween Havoc. And I almost called it Hollow Weekends. That's at Cedar Point. And then you had WWE with the main roster coming in with their pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. Usually never disappoints. One of my more favorite pay-per-views that they have. I got a couple of them. Besides the big four, I like I like your Money in the Bank. I like the Hell in the Cell matches. Those are cool and fun. And I wasn't completely disappointed by this Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. It wasn't a waste of 3 hours of my life. First hour was a little rough, but other than that, we moved right along.
Right. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't a barn burner. It was what it was.
The matches.
I think we both agreed that they're getting a little lazy on the writing, and there could be a multitude of reasons why that's happening.
Right. So, well, until next time, make sure you guys get on over to Facebook, Kayfabe Smark, Instagram, Kayfabe Smark. You can hop on YouTube and get in here and watch us do this live on Thursday nights. We try to get on around 9:30. We will be trying to get better and better about our time frame on that. And then, once again, subscribe there, comment, like, share, and get involved over there on YouTube. Kayfabe Smark on, I said Facebook, Instagram, get in the Facebook group, all that fun stuff. And then go to audibletrial.com/kayfabesmart, get a free 30-day audiobook or free 30-day trial, free audiobook. I was listening to a Metallica book the other day. You get a bunch of stuff that's included. It was okay. It was a little long. And then also make sure you get into anchor.fm/kayfabesmart, leave a voicemail, and we'll talk about those and give us some topic to chat about. Doesn't even have to be a question. It can be a comment or just how you're feeling about something or whatever you want to get into. So get involved and do all that. Eric, you got anything before we hit the bricks and go to bed for this evening?
As always, you can find me on Instagram, all one word. Oh yeah, it's Eric is my username. And then also, if you want to see my snoozing pitbull Stella over there sawing logs, you can catch us on TikTok at stella.hates.eric.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Kayfabe Smark. This has been the podcast. Eric, where we at?
I think this is the point of the show where I say, hooty hoo, we out the gates.